So there's this strange phenomenon, and I'm sure some of you already noticed it, especially during the 2024 campaign. It's like a time warp situation or an erasure of memory, amnesia, let's call it, where Trump supporters will tell you that Joe Biden was responsible for C-19, for COVID. And they will talk about the food shortages and the toilet paper shortages that happened under Biden. And they will talk about all these different things, people losing their jobs and how Biden gave out all this money, right? And that's what caused inflation because he gave all this stimulus money and unemployment money and stuff like that. And that's what caused it. And, I would scratch my head up. I'm like, what are they talking about? Right. And then, people would come in and like, yeah, well, you remember how cheap gas was under Trump. And then they would be, asked to go look it up and see, give them, bring the receipts. And they would go look it up and they were like, it was $1.99. It was $2 under Trump in 2016. Except there's a problem with that, right?
AAA travel 2016. Gas prices average $1.99. Last time I did math, that is well below $2. Have a good day.
Well, that's great, but here's the problem. Donald Trump wasn't the president in 2016.
No, he wasn't. So it's very confusing, right? It's how could that many people share the same, kind of delusion or like the same type of amnesia? And then I had a conversation with my son, and we were just talking about, COVID and like what happened and, like the different stimulus checks and the extra unemployment and food shortages and all this stuff. And he like attributed that to Joe Biden. I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't Joe Biden. Donald Trump was president for most of the first year of COVID. And he was like, no, he wasn't. Joe Biden won. Well, Joe Biden was. It was 2020. I was like, yeah. I was like, Donald Trump was president in 2020. And he was like, no, he wasn't. And he started getting really upset with me. To the point where it kind of reminded me of the Wizard of Oz, Princess Wicked Witch of the East argument. You guys remember the one?
Her sister was a witch, right? And what was her sister? A princess, the Wicked Witch of the East, bro. You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? She wore a crown and she came down in a bubble, dog. Grow up, bro. Grow up.
That's like the very best video ever to ever hit the internet. One of the top 5 at least. But anyway, I started I finally figured it out. So because we say the 2016 election, 2020 election, they attribute that as the start of that term, that presidential term. So Trump won in 2016 and Biden won in 2020. So people automatically say, okay, so they served from 2016, right, to 2020, like 4 years, right? That makes sense. And then when I came back to him and I'm like, yeah, but the election was in November of 2016, right? When Trump came into office. He didn't actually take office until January 20th, 2017. And Joe Biden took office January 20th, 2021. And he was like, oh, and yeah, like all the lights went on. Now, he is not a Trump supporter in any kind of way. But he, like all of his friends, were that's the way they were talking. And that's why so many people are messed up. And, you wouldn't think because it just, it was just a couple of years ago that they would really remember that COVID-19 started March of 2020. And Donald Trump largely oversaw COVID. Joe Biden came in 2021, almost a year later, and oversaw the recovery part of it. Most of the money that was sent via stimulus and extended unemployment benefits and all that stuff went out under the Trump administration. So let's look at the gas prices. We can see in 2015, 2016, that was President Barack Obama, right? The gas price on average in 2016 was $2.14. And when Trump took office in 2017, January 2017, right? For that year, for the average, it went up $2.42. It was almost $3 a gallon on average. A couple times I know towards the end of that year, during Christmas time when it always goes up, right? When people are traveling, it was like up over $3 a gallon. It dipped a little tiny bit in 2019. And then in March of 2020, March 13th to be exact of 2020, President Donald Trump shut down the country because of COVID-19. As a matter of fact, people don't remember that. But as a matter of fact, he got into a little argument with Georgia governor, Republican governor Brian Kemp, because he wanted to reopen his state early in like April or May. And he told him that you better not, right? He threatened him. So Donald Trump shut down the country and kept it shut down all through 2020, right? That was him. He started, kind of trying to reopen it right before the election because he knew he had bungled it and he was trying to make himself look good. So you can see, Joe Biden wins the election in 2020. And Joe, when he does, gas starts to go up, but there's a couple reasons for that. One, before Donald Trump left office, he had OPEC and the American oil companies. They made a deal that they were going to decrease production of oil so that the prices would go up, knowing that the country was about to open up and people wouldn't really care about the price increasing because they were just happy to get out. People were going on vacations. It was like that people were just, let me out of here, right? They were happy to be out. They were going and visiting family. The oil companies all over the world made a killing off of that deal. So because of those two factors, people going out into the world and, the little deal that they made to make extra money, they used fears and anticipation by economists of like pipeline chains being kind of shut down during COVID to cover up the fact that they did this decrease. So a lot of corporations did that, after COVID. They, that's why Kamala Harris was talking about price gouging. That's pretty much what she was talking about, that they used the headlines about fears of inflation to, purposely inflate products and groceries and services and all this stuff 6% above normal inflation. But, that's a different video. Okay, so goes all the way up to 2023. You can see by 2023, the gas was starting to go back down. So this is the last thing I want to show you, just so we're on the same page, right? 2024, the highest gas prices were in 2024 was April, when everybody starts, going on vacation and getting out more. It was $3.67 a gallon. The prices decreased all the way down to $3.01 per gallon in early December and remained that way through the rest of 2024. So, you could see the trend. You could see it go up. It was already starting to go back down under Joe Biden. And if it was not for Donald Trump getting ready to meddle with the tariffs and all the things, that the gas would have kept going down. Depending on what he actually does, what he allows the oil companies to do, whether he lets them make another deal to use the tariffs, even if the tariffs aren't on oil, he may let them use the fear of tariffs raising prices to cover up the fact that they're just going to hike prices or reduce, supply, so that the shortages cause prices to go up. And whether he's going to allow other corporations to do the same thing, that remains to be seen. But the MAGA amnesia around COVID and the elections and all that kind of stuff, it's like a reverse Mandela effect, maybe, because it's not actually like a thing. It's just in their head because of the way we, refer to the elections as the 2016 election or the 2020 election or 2024 election. So there you have it.